In this video, we're going to talk about creating accessible learning materials. Whenever we're creating learning materials, we need to think about how they're going to work for different people who may use different assistive technologies. For example, if people who are blind or have limited eyesight often use screen readers to help them on the internet, to read documents, to read slides. And so there's certain things we have to do to make sure that that will work so they'll be able to access it. The Web Content Accessibility Guidelines are published online, and it's a list of things to do to make, it focuses on web pages, but the same thing applies to any type of document. It helps people check and think about what they need to do to make sure that their content is accessible to all the different assistive devices people might be using. And it's founded on the POUR model. And so POUR is perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. Perceivable means that we want everyone to be able to see it, whether they're blind, they're hard of hearing. And so if we have images, we want to make sure that it's going to say something, a text alternative. We need to make things easy to see and hear. If there's a sound that's important, we need to make sure that there's a visual element of it that people who can't hear can then see. That's perceivable. Operable is to think about how the keyboard is used and making sure users have enough time to access and do things. If someone's using an assistive device, for example, they're paralyzed or something else, and they have an assistive device that helps them physically, it takes them longer to operate things. So we need to make sure that whenever we're doing anything that's timed or whatever, we give lots of time. We need to avoid flashing lights and such that can cause seizures. Build things, documents and web pages in a way that it has structure that allows them to navigate it better. Understandable comes down to how can we make this readable and understandable? How can we make sure that the language is clear, that the web page works in a predictable way? People get used to how web pages are supposed to work. And so we generally try to use those same techniques. And so if your web page works very differently, it becomes very hard to use, especially for people using assistive devices. Then finally, robust. Robust means we want it to work across a lot of different types of devices and different technologies, including different operating systems. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these, focusing primarily on perceivable, because if you make these things perceivable, the operable often will be fixed, and then understandable and robust will be close too. So the first one is to read words. There is something called OCR, optical character recognition. You might have noticed that if you take a handwritten document or printed document and you scan it and you don't have the right settings on, the computer's not going to be able to read or search that document. So you go to highlight it and it doesn't let you highlight it, or it only makes you do a box. That's because the computer doesn't recognize that that is text. You have to take an extra step to make sure that it has a layer on it that says what the text is, and that's called optical character recognition. Sorry. So I almost always do this through Adobe Acrobat with the PDFs. There's some things online you can do to help you do it. When you scan documents, a lot of scanners will actually have a setting to make sure that it automatically does it for you. So it's just making sure that there's OCR so that screen readers will know what to say when they get to that. Otherwise, they won't be able to read it at all. Use descriptive links. So if you use a full web address like this, the screen reader is going to say something like https://ahref, and it's not going to make any sense. If we use something like alt text for SEO, how to optimize your images, and then we link that text, the screen reader will read this and give the option for the user to go to that link. So that'll be a lot easier to read. And it's really easy for everyone. See pictures. So if I come to a picture and it's saved as IMG slash whatever, and I haven't done anything to fix that, it's going to read this file name. But if I add an alt text and kind of show you how to do that in slides and web pages, it'll actually say cute cat. Or if you mark it as decorative, it'll just skip it. So that makes sure that if someone can't see it, they still know what it is. Another thing to think about is heading styles. You can actually designate what heading styles are. So I want to make sure if I'm using a Google Doc or a Word document that I use the heading 1, heading 2, etc. Because someone who can't hear, they can't necessarily see if I just make the size bigger. But if it's a heading 1, the reader will tell them it's a heading 1, so they don't have to see the size. When you're doing slides, if you use the templates and it has a title and subtitle box, that will take care of that. You can still edit the templates however you want. You just need to make sure that you keep a title and subtitle so that it's clear. It's best just to work off templates and then make small changes. Another one is tables. Think of how annoying it would be for something to just read through all the tables. You have to make sure that you set column headers and row headers so that different devices can kind of jump through the cells either by voice or by other types of tools very easily. We also have issues with color sometimes. If someone's colorblind or just can't see as well, we need to make sure that contrast is high. So this is actually Adobe Color tool where you can check the contrast. So you can see if it's colorblind safe, it can show you the contrast ratio and whether it's good enough or not. So this one failed, but these ones passed depending on the size of the text. So that helps you understand that. I think the best way to make your materials accessible is to use an accessibility checker. And sorry, this page is a little busy, but there's different ones. When you are in a Google product like Google Docs or Google Slides, there's a tool called Grackle, and it's an add-on to Google Docs and such, and it'll actually check your accessibility. And it'll give you something like this, and it'll say which things you need to fix, and I believe usually it'll help you fix those things. If you are just looking at a website, this ADA, WCAG, accessible compliant thing you can put in the website and it'll give you feedback on the accessibility. If you're using a Microsoft tool, they have built-in accessibility tools. So if I'm using a PowerPoint and I check for accessibility, it'll give me something like this, including like that's a hard to read text contrast or that's not in line, so it's going to cause some problems. And that will let you make those changes. It'll help you make the changes. So I think that's probably the easiest way to address these issues is use some type of checker to just walk you through what you need to do. Finally, one more mention about document types and PDFs. Generally, if you have a document that you want to share with someone, you want to put it in PDF form, especially if you're sharing it widely. Because you don't have to have Microsoft Word or other things to access a PDF. The idea with PDF is that it's very widely accessible across systems. So it's always a good idea, like if you have a PowerPoint you want to share, it's always a good idea to export that to a PDF for people. So if they don't have PowerPoint, they can still access it. All right, final takeaways. The best practices for accessibility is to use formatting, the templates, and then adding alt text, which you can learn how to do using those checkers. Use the accessibility checkers, and then export to PDF to maximize working across platforms. Thanks for watching.